Today's we are talking on topic Section 8 companies. Friends, this is my very favorite topic because it's a very unique structure of the corporate where people get confused many times whether Section 8 company can be NGO, whether Section 8 company do profit, whether Section 8 company are for CSR, which model is good or bad, trust or Section 8 company. And we keep on answering. But I think when a company has to, start any CSR activity, do NGO work with profit or without profit, this is the best model. With my experience, I'm telling, because we provide service to trust, society, and also Section 8 company. This is the best model you can operate your activity, where you can do your NGO work or non-profit or profit, social work with profit. So that's why today this topic is there. And we have with us our eminent panelist, Ms. Rema Mohan. Welcome, Rema, to our webinar. She's attending first time to our webinar. Thanks a lot. Rema leads NSC Foundation, an organization promoted by NSC Group as its CEO. She played a key role in transforming NSC Group CSR strategies and programs covering domain of education, drinking water, sanitation, elder care, skill development, health, etc. She led NSC Foundation's initiative through large pan-India program in association with various state governments impacting more than 2.2 million beneficiaries. In past, worked with Times Foundation, Times Group, Srimati Silochana Devi Singhania Trust, Raymond's Group, Ford Foundation, MS University, Baroda. She is a member of NIA of the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, CSR Committee of CII Western Region, CSR and Sustainability, FICCI Women for Climate, etc. She was selected as one of the top 10 women in United Nations Disaster and Risk Reduction of the Asia Pacific region. She holds degree in management and law and is alumni of prestigious Fortune US State Department Global Women's Leadership Program. And she is Aspire Fellow, a member of NIA of Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, CSR Committee of CII, CSR and Sustainability. And she, as mentioned, she was selected as one of the top 10 women in UN disaster and risk reduction. Welcome, Ms. Rema. Thanks a lot for your time. And our audience will surely get benefit of your huge experience in this field. We have with us Mr. Bala, as usual, our veteran. You know Mr. Bala as our moderator. He's a company secretary with more than 4 decades experience and worked with Foseco India and is a regular speaker at various forums and is a regular writer of various articles in various magazines. Friends, today Sudhakar may not be able to join or later join because he is at his SSB meeting. Sorry for that. He will try to join wherever possible. And with that, we have our today presenter, and she is also our manager, secretary, Poonam Pokia. And thank you, Poonam, for your presentation. We'll look forward everything. She has worked a lot on that. She's actually executing the work for Section 8 company. And with this, I will request to Ms. Rema to say a few words on Section 8 or her experience. And then Mr. Bala to say a few words on topic. And then Poonam, you can start your. Thanks. Over to Ms. Rema.
Yeah, Deepti, thank you so much for your kind words and a warm welcome today to all the audience. I think you said we have scored a century. So in light of IPL, hearty congratulations. Yeah. So good morning to everyone. My name is Rema Mohan, and I have had the fortune and the privilege to lead NSC Foundation as its CEO. NSC Foundation is a Section 8 company post the CSR, sections, Section 135, which came out in the Companies Act of 2013. And subsequently, We did do CSR for 3-4 years, but then later on in 2018, we incorporated NSE Foundation because it made sense to pool in the resources of all the group companies and to really, we were able to scale up this entire thing through the Section 8 company. And then there was an arm's length because it separated the not-for-profit activities from the for-profit of what the companies were actually doing. So that is the story behind how NSE Foundation was set up. And I won't take too much of your time today because there's a very detailed presentation which the team has put up from Mehta and Mehta. But I would like to say one thing, that when we look at Section 8 companies and you see it in light of CSR, you see it in light of the Companies Act, Section 135 and the rules thereunder, as well as the type of changes that have been brought into the NPO sector, the reporting, the compliance, the FCRA reporting which has to be done, the increased scrutiny, the surveillance. Also, when you look at the Companies Act, the type of onus of responsibility that a CSR committee and the board needs to play, Section 8 companies really are the right vehicle of transparency, and they allow for increased governance, increased transparency, increased reporting, and they are the right vehicle that today we can do a lot of things with. Going forward, I think Section 8 companies are going to be one of the most important mediums in which both CSR activities as well as other social activities will be undertaken. Today, there is a thought, why should a not-for-profit be only not-for-profit? They can be run in such a way that they make profit, they can probably plow it back into their activities. But the efficiency, the formats, the processes, the systems, there is an increasing demand for these type of things from the not-for-profit sector. Therefore, today's topic is extremely relevant. It is much needed. And I would urge all the participants to please revisit these sections, because many times we don't look at this, because we are so involved in companies, management of companies and reporting in companies, we don't look at Section 8 as something that, may be important to us in our day-to-day functions. But going forward, as I said, in terms of process, governance, systems, transparency, reporting, implementation, impact, and also, if you look at Section 8, just the structure, it allows for many companies to come together, right? It's easy to register. So all these things are extremely important. Also, last but not least, there are a lot of conversations that are happening today in the NPO sector, how to raise funds, right? Now, the raising of funds can take up many different type of mediums. It could be bonds, it could be social impact bond, development impact bonds, it could be zero coupon zero, all those things that are coming up today, which are the conversations that are happening in light of sustainability as a whole. And today we are going towards COP, we are going towards a lot of things, even internationally, globally also, we are looking at a lot of changes in sustainability. Section 8 companies are most important medium. So thank you, Deepti, and your team for having this session, having this topic very much needed. And with this, I will hand it over back to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Rema, for putting such an important words of your experience, that fundraising and the topic you raised. It's really crucial in view of social stock exchange and all that. So when the company you get listed, and also the bond raising issue of bonds and all that. Fantastic, you were telling, but see, this is the very, very practical view you have put, and that thanks for that. Thanks a lot. As and when we move ahead, we'd like to hear your experience, your ideas on the topic. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Over to Mr. Bala, please.
Good morning to all of you. Really, it is a privilege for us to have Rema Mohan as Dipti puts it, she's one of the top 10 ladies who have been actually selected. I'm really, really very much, glad and also very much appreciative of the way in which women empowerment is actually going forward. Because as I shared with you also in the past, I being a old timer, I have seen where the women were actually prohibited, suppressed, even getting the basic education, etc. From that perspective, I am really very glad that today women empowerment is taking place and a very impressive career, Rema. Hearty congratulations to you. That is number one. Number two, when you talk about the charity, charity has been a very old concept which has been there from globally also, internationally also. The very first act in India, 1913, that basically talked about the charitable company. Then when the 1956 Act, which came replacing the 1913 Act, many of us will be remembering, even Dipti will be recalling it. We used to have what you call Section 25 companies. But of course, the charity has been going on with a different form of the organization as well. There used to be a trust which is formed under the Trust Act and it was reporting the charity commissioner, etc. And even they used to form the societies and then Section 8 company. The question which has actually come out of all the three forms, which is the better way, better form, better framework of the company when it's come to that, Section 8 company, which is recognized and which is registered to the Companies Act, has got a greater visibility, disclosure, transparency. It is available in the public domain. Accountability is there. From that perspective, Section 8 company is definitely far better company than considering to the other framework of the companies where it can do the NGO activities. Then especially after 2013 Act, which actually incorporated the mandatory requirement of the CSR, it is increasingly saying there are larger organizations, many companies, they have actually started forming their own Section 8 company in the form of a foundation like Infosys, Wipro, Vodafone Group companies, etc. and other thing and all. Most of the CSR activities has been actually done through this Section 8 company, which is actually visible today. That is one. Second thing is when we talk about the Section 8 company, okay, the company is also covered under the Companies Act, but yet there are a lot of nitty-gritties which are actually involved. Of course, the practical aspects, we have a eminent person who is with us as a panelist who will share the practical experience of. I think initially also she touched upon many things. As the presentation goes on, we'll be hearing from her many things on this aspect. But the question might arise here. There are certain nitty-gritties like in a Section 8 company, what happened, whether the company secretary will be required, whether the single standard is applicable, whether the independent directors will be applicable, any exemptions available, concession available, what about the board meeting, circulation, all those things will also arise. And another thing is very important in respect to the forum also, there are specific requirement is there in case of the Section 8 company. And again, there is another concept which is there whenever the non-compliances take place, etc. The companies allows us, to treat certain set of companies as a small company, whether Section 8 company will fall under the small company or not, etc. All those things are all there. So these are the various nitty-gritties, as Rema puts it, in our routine way of doing the job. Certain things we tend to, not take notice of it, or we tend to ignore it, or we take it for granted it is like any other company, which is actually not the case in this. In fact, our presenter today, Poonam, is extensively covering all these aspects, talking about what are the various exemptions which are available, what are the nitty-gritties which are involved, etc. For example, when it comes to the merger and amalgamation, can Section 8 company get merged with the other companies? Yes, it can do a merger, but the only thing is it can get merged only with the similar nature of companies having a same objective. That means Section 8 company can get merged only with the Section 8 company, not any other form of the company. This will be the case. And again, the question will also arise conversion, because when we talk private company converting public company converting private company, 1% company converting private company, all such things are there. Whether Section 8 company can also be converted both the ways. Whether the private public company converted to Section 8 company can be converted to other type of companies. That also question arises. Under the Companies Act, everything is permitted, but only thing is subject to the requirement of the Companies Act provisions and restrictions which are actually there. That is possible. And again, yesterday when I was discussing with Poonam and Rema and other people, a question has arisen. Why would somebody would like to convert the Section 8 company into other form of the company? What is the reason? Because once you have formed for the non-profit organization, why do you like to convert from this organization to other type of the organization? That question actually came out. I think Mona will be addressing that during the course of time, because in fact, if there is any example, that was also a question which was actually raised yesterday. But of course, law has got a framework. If you want, you can do it. But the purpose for which it is to be done, what is to be done, that depends upon the circumstances as we travel along. So there are many such issues which are actually there. Section 8 company is being a very specific company. In the light of the CSR mandatory requirement, it is getting more and more attention. And one more thing, which is closer to her heart, what you call the social stock exchange.
Yes.
Which is another thing. It is the latest development.
I never missed to mention the same.
Yeah, I know. It is close to your heart. Because you mentioned in the past also, it is going to be the future of the thing when the fundraising comes, etc. and other thing and all, listing the various activities which are involved. So these are all shows a lot of importance about the Section 8 company. Dipti, you'll be glad to know the score is already reached 2.5 century. As we go along, we will learn more things from our eminent panelists who have the practical view. Over to Poonam. Please take us through, Poonam. All yours.
Yeah, all viewers, as usual, please put your questions or even suggestions in the chat box. And at the end of the session, time permits, we will allow people who raise the hand to unmute and speak. Thanks. Poonam, please start.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Good morning, everyone. I'm Poonam Pokia, manager at Mehta and Mehta. Welcome you all to the today's webinar on Section 8 company. So first, let's see what are the overview. What is the definition of Section 8 company and what it covers? The Section 8 company is the not-profit organizations having corporate structure and registered under the Companies Act 2013. Erstwhile it was governed under Section 25 of the Companies Act 1956. Not-profit organization can be registered in different form. While societies registered under Section 20 of the Societies Registration Act 1860, trust form under the Indian Trust Act 1882, and the Section 8 companies under the Companies Act 2013. The registration process for all these NPOs will be different, but the status of the registered organization is the status of NGO to get the funding. What are the main objects for which the Section 8 company is incorporated? So the object of the Section 8 company shall be promotion of any one of the following, like commerce, arts, science, sports, education, research, social welfare, religion, charity, protection of environment, and any such other objects. The main intention of the Section 8 company is to promote the charity. What are the conditions to follow by the company to incorporate as a Section 8 company? So it is covered under Section 8(1)(a) of the Companies Act 2013. The first condition should be the object of the Section 8 company should be as per this. It is mentioned in the Section 8(1)(a), which is we've already covered in the previous slide. The second one is the intention of the Section 8 company is to apply its profit, if any, or other income in promoting its objects only. They cannot use it for any other purpose other than their own object. In the Section 8 company are prohibited from the payment of any dividend to its members. The Section 8 company is not allowed to pay any kind of dividend to their members. So now let's talk about what are the exemptions and the privileges which is applicable to the Section 8 company as per the Companies Act 2013. The first one is the company is not required to use the word limited or private limited at the end of its name. There is no requirement for the minimum paid up capital for the company. And then appointment of the company secretary is also not applicable to the Section 8 companies. As per the Section 101, the private or the public company is required to send the notice at least 21 days, clear days before the general meeting. But for the Section 8 company, the relaxation is given that the company can issue the notice not less than 14 days before the holding of the general meeting. The section 118 is not applicable to the section 8 company except that the minutes may be recorded within 30 days of the conclusion of the meeting in case the companies where the article of the association provides for the confirmation of the minutes by circulation. The next one is the exemption under section 149. The conditions requiring and governing the appointment of the independent director have been waived off for the section 8 companies. Minimum number of directors are also not applicable to the section 8 companies. Then under section 165(1), the directorship of section 8 companies are not reckoned for the calculation of the number of directorship. So if the director is a member in 20 companies, then also he can become a director of section 8 company. Then the next one is section 131. The board shall conduct the meeting once in every 6 calendar months. So in a year, the section 8 company is required to hold only minimum 2 board meetings, whereas in the other private and public companies required to hold minimum 4 board meetings. The next one is section 174. The quorum requirement of the board meeting shall be either 8 members or the 25% of the total strength, whichever is less, subject to minimum of 2 directors. Under section 77(2), the requirement of the audit committee to have a majority as independent director is also removed for section 8 companies. Then under section 178, the requirement of constitution of NRC committee and the related compliance is also removed for section 8 companies. Under section 179(3), there are some restriction on the private and the public company that they cannot pass the resolutions by way of circulation for borrowing of monies, investing fund of the company, giving loan and guarantee, or providing security in respect of the loans. But under this section, the exemption is provided to section 8 company that they can pass this resolution by way of circulation. Under section 188, the director of the section 8 company, being an interested director, is required to disclose his interest in a transaction, arrangement, or the contract and abstain from participating in the meeting only if the value of the transaction is exceeding the ₹1 lakh. Accordingly, the requirement of maintenance of register of contract or arrangement in which the director are interested is also not required for section 8 companies. The next is section 8 companies can register under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act to receive the fund from the foreign source. Registration, however, the registration under the FCRA is mandatory for availing such benefit by section 8 company. In terms of the provision of para 2(3) of the company's Auditors Report Order 2016, the provision of the company's Auditors Report Order 2016 are not applicable on a section 8 companies. So these all are the exemption which is available to the section 8 company as per the Companies Act 2013. So Income Tax Act also provides some exemptions like section 8 company. If the section 8 company has registered itself under section 12AA, then they can get a tax exemption. If the company has registered themselves as a section under section 80G of the income tax, then donor can claim tax benefits for donation made to the section 8 company. Then income of the section 8 company that is registered under section 12AA is exempt under section 11 and 12 of the Income Tax Act. So all these are the advantages which attracts the company to form a section 8 company. So there is one example where the Escort Scale Development, which is a section 8 company, has filed an application for registration under section 12AA of the Income Tax Act. The primary aim for forming the company was merely to comply with the requirement of a CSR of its parent company. However, the CIT has rejected the application, contending that the charitable activities under the garb of CSR activities are mere camouflage to get the registration under section 12AA and 80G of the Act. However, the tribunal held that merely because of the fact that the applicant company has been established to comply with the CSR obligations, the registration under section 12AA of the Act cannot be denied, particularly when CSR activities are also charitable activities as defined under the Act. So the company got registered under as a section 8 company under section 12AA of the Income Tax Act.
Puram, there is somebody asking a question. Can we choose a section 8 company in lieu of a cooperative society for residential society?
I think this both as a different kind of form of NGOs. The section 8 company has to register under section 2013 and the cooperative societies will govern under the separate separate act.
See, basically cooperative society, it's not a charitable or any purpose. Keep in mind, we have mentioned in the first slide only. What is the purpose? It is just residential society management, so it cannot. Okay, we can go ahead.
There are some disadvantages of forming the Section 8 companies, which are like the members are not allowed or permitted to take or share the profit with the Section 8 company has earned. Any amendment to be carried out in the memorandum and article of the association, it can be possible only with the permission of the registrar. So pre-permission of the registrar is required to amend the MOA and AOA of the company. Income tax rates are the same as applicable to other company as well. Then the license cancellation of Section 8 company is possible on several grounds. We will discuss about cancellation of the license in our next slides. So these all are the advantages for the Section 8 companies. Now, if anyone wants to incorporate the new Section 8 company, then these are the procedures by way it can be incorporated under Companies Act 2013. So first is the name reservation. So like the private and public company, the company has to first apply for the run application to reserve its name. As per Rule 8.7 of the Companies Incorporation Rule 2014, the name shall include the name of the Section 8 company shall include the words foundation, forum, association, federation, chambers, confederation, councils, electoral trust, etc. The next one is the person or the association of persons desires of incorporating a company with the limited liability under Section 8.1 shall make an application in SPICE Plus form, which is available on V3 portal. So the company has to make an application under section with the form INC 32 to the registrar to apply for the license. The memorandum of association of the proposed company shall be in the form INC 13. What are the documents which needs to be attached in the form INC 32 are the MOA and AOA of the proposed company, a declaration by an advocate, chartered accountant, cost accountant, or the company secretary in practice that the MOA and AOA have been drawn up in conformity with the provision of the Section 8 and the rules made thereunder, and that all the requirements of the Act and the rules made thereunder relating to the registration and the matters incidental or supplemental thereto have been complied with. Then estimate of the future annual income and the expenditure of the company for the next 3 financial years, specifying the sources of the income and the object of the expenditure, and the declaration by each of the person making the application. If the registrar finds all the forms, all the document in place, then it can issue a license which will be in the form INC 16. So if the existing private or the public company wants to convert itself into the Section 8 company, then also the provision is applicable in this under the Companies Act 2013. Firstly, the MOA and AOA of the limited company either have or they have should have amended the object in such that it will be as per the Section 8.1a, and the restrictions and the prohibitions as mentioned in the seed subclause are incorporated in the memorandum and the articles, and the company is desirous of being registered under Section 8 without the addition to its name of the word limited or the private limited. The existing company is required to make an application in form INC 12 to the registrar to get a license under Section 8.5 of the Companies Act. So what are the documents which needs to be attached in the form INC 12 are the EMOA and EAOA of the company, the declaration by an advocate, chartered accountant, cost accountant, or the company secretary in practice that MOA, AOA have been drawn up in conformity with the provisions of the Section 8 of the Act and rules made thereunder, and all the requirements of the Act and the rules are complied with. A statement showing in details the assets and the liabilities of the company as on the date of the application or within 30 days preceding that date. The certified copy of the resolution passed in the general meeting or the board meeting approving the registration of the company under Section 8 of the Act, and a declaration by each of the person making the application. Within a week from the date of the application, the company is required to make a newspaper publication in form INC 26 at least once in a vernacular newspaper where the registered office of the company is situated, and at least once in an English newspaper circulating in that district, and on the websites of the company if the company is having, as notified by the central government. And this publication is also required to be sent to the registrar by the company. The decision of the registrar, the registrar shall consider the financial statement of the last 2 financial years And if the company has only incorporated before 1 year, then that 1 year financial statement along with the board report and the auditor report is required to be attached in the financials. So considering the financial statements and the objections, if any, received by the registrar within 30 days of making the publication of notice, and after consulting any authority, regulatory body, department or ministry of central government or the state government, the registrar shall decide whether the company is granted with the license or not. If the registrar shall take a decision to issue a license, then it shall be in the form INC 17, and the registrar shall have the power to include in the license such other conditions as may deem necessary by him. The registrar may direct the company to insert in its memorandum or article such conditions of the license as may be specified by the registrar in this behalf. So this was the procedures to convert existing company into Section 8 company. Now, who can convert itself into the Section 8 company? The society which is registered under the Societies Registration Act 1860 can convert itself into Section 8 company. Then cooperative society registered under the Cooperative Society Act or the Multi-State Cooperative Society Act. Then trust which is registered under the Trust Act, limited liability partnership, partnership firm, and the existing private or the public company. 1% company can also convert into Section 8 company, but first 1% company has to convert itself into the private or the public company, and after that conversion only that private and public company can be converted into Section 8 company. The OPC directly cannot convert itself into the Section 8 company. Yeah, the next one is who can become the member of the Section 8 companies. So these are the list which can become the member of the Section 8 company, like cooperative society, trust which is registered under the registered trust can also become a member, but in case it is an unregistered trust, then the provision of Section 89 will be applicable. Then the limited liability partnership firm and the existing private and the public company can become the member of Section 8 company. However, the 1% company cannot become a member of the Section 8 company because Rule 3.6 of the Companies Incorporation Rule 2014 prohibits 1% company to invest in security of any body corporate. So if the existing Section 8 company wants to convert itself into the private or the public company, then also the provision is applicable in the Companies Act 2013. There was an example, the Solar Energy Corporation of India, which was formed in 2011 as a Section 8 company with an intention of a charitable objectives to promote the solar energy in the nation. Since we all know that the Section 8 company's main motive is to a charitable purpose and they can't make profit out of its business. Whereas the Section 3 company's main intention is the commercial activities and making profit. However, the SECI was registered as a Section 8 company. It was not allowed to make the profit. The intention was not to make profit. It has made the profit in the financial year 2014 and 15 of rupees 12 crore. So with an eye on expanding India's renewable energy sector and streaming it, the Union Cabinet chaired by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 24th June 2015 gave its approval to Solar Energy Corporation of India to apply to the ROC to convert itself into the Section 3 company under Companies Act 2013 and renaming it as a Renewable Energy Corporation of India. So the major impact of this decision was SECI to become a self-sustaining and self-generating organization. SECI to engage itself in owning solar power plants, generating and selling power, and in other segments of the solar sector activities, including manufacturing of solar products and materials. Then SECI to become RECI after change of its name, and then to take up development of all the segments of renewable energy, namely geothermal, offshore wind, etc., apart from solar energy. So the main motto of conversion of SECI from Section 8 company to Section 3 company is to make the profit which will be beneficial for the nation.
So this is something very exceptional and happen, but you can see it is PMO office, and that's otherwise Section 8 company conversion into commercially profit making company. As everyone knows, Section 8 company can make a profit which called surplus, but the profit sharing, that surplus sharing to shareholder is not allowed. The same with the specific purpose, with the PMO office permission has been taken, otherwise it required that way permission. Otherwise, you cannot convert into profit-making company.
Well, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right, Dipti. Actually, when we talk about the Section 8 company, the concept of, what you call the profit and loss concept is not there. It is actually the income or expenditure and the surplus generated. That is the word which is generally used. That is number one. Definitely in the process, Section 8 company will make a surplus amount of the money. But what is prohibited is distribution of the amount within the members by way of the dividend, etc. That is actually prohibited. That is why we talk Section 8 company cannot actually distribute the profits, etc. and other things and all. That is the thing. And as you rightly said, yes, this is the only case where we came across, rather one of the case which we came across where the Section 8 company has been converted to Section 3 company. Otherwise, I don't think there is anybody has converted it. Definitely speaking, one of the purpose for charitable purposes is formed. I don't think anybody go for the converting into non-profit into profitable company, etc. and other thing. I also not seen any such things except this particular case.
Conversion of
Section 8 company into other
first
form of
into
company. Because once you form the Section 8 company, which is for the charitable purposes, why you would want to convert the company into other form of the profit-making company? As you rightly said, this is one of the cases which came across.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the whole purpose is they want to, popularize the solar energy spread over, etc. as alternative source of energy. And in the process, they have been making a profit. That is why they got converted. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So now let's see what are the procedures available under the Companies Act to convert the Section 8 company into the private or the public company. So the company is required to pass the agenda through a special resolution in the general meeting for such conversion. The explanatory statement annexed to the notice convening the general meeting shall set out in details the reason for opting for such conversion, why the company wants to convert itself from Section 8 company to any other kind of company, along with the following details like the date of incorporation of the company, the principal object of the company as set out in the memorandum of association, the reasons as to why the activities for achieving the object of the company cannot be carried on in the current structure, that is as a Section 8 company. Then if the principal or the main object of the company are proposed to be altered, what would be the altered objects and the reasons for such alteration? What are the privileges or the concessions currently enjoyed by the company, such as tax exemptions, approval for receiving donations or contributions, including foreign contribution, land and other immovable properties, if any, that were acquired by the company at concessional rates or the market prices prevalent at the time of acquisition, and the price that was paid by the company, details of any donations or bequests received by the company with conditions attached to their utilization, etc. Also, the details of the impact of the proposed conversion on the members of the company, including the details of any benefits that may accrue to the members as a result of such conversion. So all these details are required to be included in the explanatory statement. The company is required to file the form MGT 14 for passing the special resolution in general meeting. Then the company is required to file the form INC 18 with the regional director. A copy of the application with the annexures as filed with the regional director shall also be filed with the registrar. After that, the company is also required to make a newspaper publication in the form INC 19 at least once in a vernacular language where the register office of the company is situated, and one in the English newspaper and also on the website if the company is having a proper website. Sending copy of the application along with all the attachments to the Chief Commissioner of Income Tax having jurisdictions over the company, income tax officer who has jurisdiction over the company, then the Charity Commissioner, the Chief Secretary of the state in which the register office of the company is situated, any organization or the department of the central government or the state government or other authority under whose jurisdiction the company has been operating. If any of this authority wish to make any representation to the regional director, it shall do so within 60 days of the receipt of the notice by the company after giving an opportunity to the applicant company. What are the major attachment which needs to be attached in the form INC 18R? The copy of proof of serving notice to all the authorities, a declaration from the board to the effect that no portion of the income or the property of the company has been or shall be paid or transferred directly or indirectly by way of dividend, bonus or otherwise to persons who are or have been the members of the company. No objection certificate if the company has obtained any special status, privileges, exemptions, benefits, or grants from any authority, such as Income Tax Department, Charity Commission, or any other organization or department of the central government, state government, municipal body, or any recognized authority. And then the NOC will be the mandatory. Audited financial statement, board report, annual returns, and the audit report of each of the 2 financial years immediately preceding the date of the application. And the statement of assets and liability of the company will be required as on the date not earlier than the 30 days of the date of that date, duly certified by the auditor if the application is made after the expiry of the 3 months from the date of the preceding financial year. And also a declaration from PCA, chartered accountant or the practicing company secretary or chartered cost accountant in practice, certifying that the conditions laid down in the act and this act and the rules made thereunder have been complied with. After satisfying with, after the regional director, after being satisfied, shall issue an order approving the conversion of the company into a company of any other kind, like private or public, subject to such conditions, like to give up, not to claim any special status, exemptions, or the privileges that it enjoyed by the virtue of having been registered under the provision of Section 8. If any immovable property acquired free of cost or at a concessional cost from any government or the authority, it may be required to pay the difference between the cost at which it acquired such property and the market price of such property at the time of conversion, either to the government or to the authority that provided the immovable property. Any accumulated profit or the unutilized income of the company brought forward from previous years shall be first utilized to settle all the outstanding statutory dues, amounts due to lenders, claim of the creditors, suppliers, service providers, and other including employees. And lastly, any loans advanced by the promoter or the member or any other amounts due to them, and the balance, if any, shall be transferred to the Investor Education and Protection Fund within 30 days of receiving the approval of such conversion. Before imposing such conditions and rejecting the application, the regional director shall give a reasonable opportunity to the company being heard by the regional directors.
So this is the process. Yeah, certain people has mentioned that PMO approval is not required. It is for, even though conversion is, this process is there, then you have to follow this process. In that, first say company as it is was converted into profit making. Here, how you can do whatever is your extra benefit, because being a Section 8 company, the process Poonam has elaborately mentioned, and it is on the slide also, on the thing that you have taken any extra asset or anything with the company, it is from the fund which you got it for the particular purpose, which is non-profit purpose. That's why their same should be transferred to the particular account, and then only you can convert and start your activity. So you have to follow this.
The next is, once the regional director shall issue an order, the company has to convene a general meeting to pass a special resolution for amending its MOA and AOA as required under the Act after the consequent to the conversion of the Section 8 into the private or the public company. The company shall thereafter file with the registrar the form INC 20 within 30 days from the date of receipt of the regional director's order. Then amended EMOA and EAOA of the company. A declaration by the directors that the conditions, if any, imposed by the regional director have been fully complied with. On receipt of all the such documents referred above, the registrar shall register the documents and issue the fresh certificate of incorporation. So by this way, this current existing Section 8 company can be converted into the private or the public company. There are some other provisions which is applicable to Section 8 companies are incorporation as a company limited by shares or by guarantee. The Section 8 company can incorporate itself as limited by shares or by guarantee with or without share capital. The permission of the registrar of company is must for alteration of provision of its MOA or AOA. So without the permission of the ROC, the company cannot alter any of its MOA and AOA. The amalgamation, if the company was to amalgamate itself with another company, it is possible, but only the company can only amalgamate with the another Section 8 company having the similar objects. On winding up or the dissolution, any asset remaining after satisfying the claims of the company shall be transferred to another Section 8 company having similar objects, or proceeds from the asset shall be transferred to insolvency and bankruptcy fund under Section 224 of the IBC 2016.
Ms. Rima, just as an want any comment or give any suggestion, please, you can unmute and speak. Okay.
Yes, yes,
Thank
sure.
you.
I'm just looking at all the queries. I think a lot of people are more interested to know from the company's act angle. That is why I did not comment on that.
Okay.
Thanks. But Deepti, along
Yeah.
one thing which may be of interest is when we are saying that Section 8 can be converted into a for-profit entity, right?
Yeah.
Now, similarly, maybe in future slides, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Are we also talking about how a Section 8 company can be closed? Maybe it may be interesting to deal with whether it is easier to wind down a trust and society or a Section 8 company, because that could also be one of the advantages of easy exit.
Unless there is specific exemptions available to the Section 8 company under Companies Act 2013, all other provisions of the Act shall be applicable in par with the other company to the Section 8 companies. In terms of Section 108, read with Rule 20 of the Companies Management and Administration Rules 2014, if the company is having 1,000 or more members, are required to provide e-voting facility to its member in general meeting. As per Section 110, read with the Rule 22 of the Companies Management and Administration Rule 2014, if the company is having more than 200 members, are required to transact the business through postal ballot. Section 8 company, if covered under the limits as prescribed under the Rule 3 of the Company's Appointment of Directors Rule 2014, is required to appoint woman director under the second proviso to Section 149(1). Section 8 companies are also required to appoint a resident directors. Retirement by rotation is also applicable in case the Section 8 company is a public limited company. The Section 8 company can also take loan from its member and pay interest thereupon, subject to the provision of Chapter 5 of the Act, read with the rules made thereunder. And if the applicable company is falling under the condition which is provided for the XBRL filing, then the Section 8 company is also required to file its financial statement in XBRL format. Section 8 company cannot be treated as a small company since it is specifically excluded under the Section 2 of 85 of the Companies Act 2013. Section 8 company may invest in a profit-making company, and company with unlimited liabilities cannot be registered as Section 8 company. If the company is falling under the condition which is provided in the Section 135(1) of the Companies Act 2013, then the Section 8 company is also required to comply all the conditions which is mentioned under Section 135. Spending by the company in its own activities will not qualify as CSR spend. But the MCA General Circular number 21/2014 dated June 18, 2014 clarifies that the contribution to corpus of a trust of the society or Section 8 companies, etc. will qualify CSR expenditure as long as the trust, society or the Section 8 company is created exclusively for undertaking the CSR activities, or where the corpus is created exclusively for the purpose directly relatable to a subject covered in Schedule 7 of the Act. So there is no exemption available to the Section 8 company for CSR.
There is also many times Section 8 company says that why CSR is applicable to us when they reach the turnover limit or kind of thing. And I have myself practically handled where even though I have mentioned so many times, they never accepted my contention. And they said, no, we are not going to do CSR, we'll challenge and all that. And they had to subject to them, explanation. So please, this to be clarified, Section 8 company is also subject to CSR provision, and if they are governed as per the criteria, they have to contribute for CSR. Very important clarification all Section 8 companies should have. Yeah, Pona, go ahead.
In a Section 8 company issue bonus of shares, redeemable preference shares, and the bonus to the employees. So the Section 8 company is prohibited from issue of bonus shares, redeemable preference shares, and bonus to its employee. Because as per the Section 8(1)(b) of the Act, Section 8 company shall intend to apply its profit, if any, or other income in promoting its own objects. Under Section 8(1)(c) of the Act, the Section 8 company should intend to prohibit the payment of any dividend to its members. Under Rule 22(4) of the Companies Incorporation Rule 2014 requires a declaration from the Board of Directors that no portion of the income or property of the company has been or shall be paid or transferred directly or indirectly by way of dividend, bonus, or otherwise to persons who are or have been members of the company. Hence, Section 8 companies cannot issue bonus shares, redeemable preference shares, and they cannot pay bonus to their employees. In UK also, there is the same provision as the Indian Act. So the Office of the Regulator of Community Interest Commission companies in the UK has clarified that repurchase of shares is in effect a distribution of assets to members, particularly where the member receives a premium over the paid up value of the shares. So further, the Regulation 24 of the Community Interest Company Regulation 2005 provides that the community interest companies may not distribute assets to its member by way of the redemption or purchase of the company's own shares, unless the amount to be paid by the company in respect of any such share does not exceed the paid up value of the share. The Japanese law has similar provision to that of their Indian counterparts on the regulation of the charitable company. Article 32 of the Japanese law provides that to promote specified non-profit activities, the remaining assets of the dissolved specified not-profit corporation shall, except in the cases of merger and bankruptcy, be assigned to the entity stipulated by the Articles of Incorporation at the time of notifying the government agency with the jurisdiction of the completion of liquidation. Further, if there is no provisions in the articles regarding the assignment of remaining assets, the liquidator may, upon receipt of the approval by the government agency with the jurisdiction, transfer them to the national government or the local public organization. Any assets that are not so disposed of shall be assigned to the national treasury. Article 33 of the Japanese law to promote the specified not-profit activities provides that a specified not-profit corporation may only merge with the another specified not-profit organization. This is similar with the Companies Act. There is a question whether the Section 8 company can pay remuneration to an employee or their directors. So in case the employee is a member, then no remuneration or other benefit in money or money's worth can be given to him except payment of out-of-pocket expenses, reasonable and proper interest on money lent, or reasonable and proper rent on premises let to the company, or in return for any services, not being services of a kind which are required to be rendered by the member actually rendered to the company.
You rightly said, there are many questions on this part. It is answered. No remuneration to member, even though they are employed. Thanks. It can be paid to director, just for clarification. Yeah, go ahead.
So if the Section 8 company contravenes the provisions provided in the provisions of the Companies Act 2013, if the affairs of the company are conducted fraudulently or in a manner violative of the object of the company or prejudicial to the public interest, then central government may revoke the license issued and convert the status and change its name to add the word limited or private limited as the case may be. So the central government can revoke the license and it can order the company to change its status to limited or the private limited company. If it is satisfied that it is essential in the public interest, then it can give an order for amalgamation of company with the similar objects, and it may order for the winding up of the company. Section 8 company and the respective officer in default is also liable for penalty, which is prescribed in the Companies Act 2013. No such order shall be made unless the opportunity is given a reasonable opportunity. If the company is given a reasonable opportunity of being heard. So what are the penal provisions which will applicable to the company and the director and the officer in default? The company will be liable to pay with the penalty for rupees 10 lakhs to 1 crore. The minimum 10 lakhs penalty will be levied on the company, which may extend up to the 1 CR. Directors and the other officers which is in default shall be liable with a penalty of minimum rupees 25,000, which may extend up to 25 lakhs. And if it is proved that the affairs of the company were conducted fraudulently, every officer in default shall be liable for action under Section 447 of the Companies Act 2013. Whether the foreign company can be registered as a Section 8 company in India. So the Section 242 of the Companies Act 2013 defines the term foreign company and means any company or body corporate incorporated outside India, which has place of business in India, whether by itself or through an agent, physically or through electronic mode, or conducts any business activity in India in other manner. Now, since a company or the body corporate incorporated outside India for doing not-for-profit activities, which is opened a branch or the license office in India, cannot fall in definition of the foreign company as business activity is missing. Therefore, such company cannot be termed as foreign company. However, subject to the compliance of FEMA regulation, it can open a branch or the license office in India. Such not-for-profit companies or bodies incorporated outside India can promote and register a Section 8 company in India as a separate distinct entity. Now we can take up the questions, ma'am.
Section 8 company, does the limit of the number of directors apply to them? When the AOA is specific that the company can appoint only 12 directors.
Yeah, as per the companies, there is no restriction. But if they are, it is mentioned in the AOA, then the company has to follow that.
Yeah, absolutely, you are right. Because the companies like there's no nothing, but the article provides specifically they'll have to go by the article.
Yeah.
Because that is the bylaws of the company. That is there. How the CSR expenses of Section 8 companies to be computed under the Section 135 of the CA 2000? It is already there. What is the way of computation instruments? I will line with the Section 197, 198, those conditions which are actually there. Because 135.5 mandate 2% of the average net profit for the company maintaining last 3 immediately preceding year. The PPT can be computed. It is very much elaborated. I don't think that we need to explain this actually, because the law is very clear. How do we compute the managerial remuneration proposal? Same way 135 is also to be computed. What about the transmission of the share of Section 8 company? Can a shareholder nominate?
Basically, their question or transmission will be governed by the charter or article, whatever is said, the same way it will be governed.
Yeah, transmission arises only when the member dies, correct?
Yeah.
On a demise of the member.
Yeah.
Yeah. A trust required to use 80% of the surplus in a financial year for exemption of the IT. Is this applicable to the Section 8 company as also?
Harshida, is there? You can answer. Or we can park and go ahead. Okay. Yeah, someone mentioned on insolvency also transmission happens. Agree. Sorry, I missed that one. Thanks for reminding.
Can Section 8 company do preferential allotment or private placement?
And there is nothing, exemption is provided for that. Only the company cannot issue the redeemable preference shares.
No, in fact, this Section 8 company is also like other companies only in all the respects, subject to the exemption which have been actually specifically granted. And the Section 8 company also can invest in the other companies. So the mode of the investment is actually possible, it can do so.
And everything is governed by your article, keep in mind.
Yeah, that
And
is there.
that is get approved by central government, so in our case, RD office. So all the provisions of the Companies Act is applicable to Section 8 company except the specific exemption. But please keep in mind, your object should be complied for any corporate action should be for furtherance of your main object. Okay, so whatever question you are asking under Companies Act, applicable, not applicable, action, inaction, the same will be governed by charter of the Section 8 company, which will be approved verbatim by RD. You will be questioned, so you have to cover that, and the purpose should be covered. Your purpose, any action should be to achieve the purpose. Okay, thanks.
Similar question is there also. Can Section 8 company invest alternate investment fund or impact fund? Somebody saying my understanding is that corpus donation does not qualify as a CSR in January 21. I don't know if this with reference to which question is answering.
Yeah, actually it is provided for CSR. We discussed that. Yeah.
When Section 8 companies are also having FCRA registration, upon winding up under FCRA, the asset created out of the foreign sources vests with the central government. However, under the Companies Act, the assets are to be transferred to another company having the similar objects. Here, there is a conflicting provision under the two acts.
See, basically what we are telling that when you are changing the character of Section 8 company or you intend to close it, you have to transfer the asset to another company having similar objects. Because in that case, that asset will go to that company, but they will hold and all the license and all that also accordingly will be intimated. So it doesn't, so far you use it for the similar purpose, it is or asset trusted to the company for the purpose of the object of the company. So it rests with the central government. But this is that the utilization of that asset, the right to use, transfer from the transferor Section 8 company to another company with the similar objects. Am I clear? Okay.
Is the extra license to work as a NPO required after the incorporation as a company under Section 8 company under the Companies Act 2013?
No such extra license or anything is required.
No, because once you register with the Section 8 company, when you are issued the Section 8, that is the end of it. I don't think there is anything further formalities are required here. I really don't know why extra license, etc. another thing. Upon conversion of the Section 8 company into the private limited company, can the company immediately file closure application? That means form STK2.
It is exactly that basically that once that private company happens, then no further license and you can close that company as a private company. And that is the way you can close the Section 8 company. This is the closure mode.
In case of Section 8 company, listing in the social exchanges are required to take ROC permission or SEBI regulations applicable?
See, once we are telling Section 8 company, social stock exchange we have already covered. But still again I'm telling, like our normal company, when go for listing, it is governed by Companies Act and LODR.
Yeah,
Same
correct.
way,
Yeah.
it is company will covered under this Section 8 companies, all the provision under Companies Act, and also social stock exchange listing provisions are there. That is a separate altogether topic. So they will govern by both.
Share transfer among the members or even outsider requires any IT authorities permission?
It is governed by charter or article of the Section 8 company accordingly.
IT authority don't come into the
No,
picture in the
IT
share transfer
doesn't
at all.
No.
Please organize the detailed webinar on the conversion of the sole proprietorship to the company. Somebody is actually giving a suggestion.
Okay.
with reference to the recent changes in the FCRA funds received from the foreign sources, can it be transferred to the other NGO? So what is the course available with such companies?
This can be separately dealt with. It is a specific question because FCRA permission has its own conditions. It is a very particular topic wise we have to take it. Each case wise it will change.
Section 8 company itself is doing a social work. Why CSR again?
I know this question Section 8 company people ask, but that is the law. What we can comment. In that way, you can ask the question also that CSR is for donation and all that. Why it is not the one exempted?
No. See, it's not like that. See, Dipti, I think Section 8 company which is already doing a charitable activity, if they want to also expand their wing and to the CSR related, even that company get registered as a implementing agency, they can get the CSR, they can actually expand their wing, they can do the CSR activity also, why not?
No, actually, the answer I have given to my client is that when what is CSR is applicable to which company? Big company. So when you yourself is such a big, and this is to your main object. So why it should be exempted to you? You also divert it and make other company a big, no? Okay, because it is their main object only. It is not even for them any extra extended arm. So it is rather extended arm to another NGO.
Whether GST registration is required?
Whether?
GST registration is required.
I think there are some certain conditions for that GST registration, certain amount of turnover, some 20 or
that is means applicable on that as a matter.
No, one thing, GST is altogether totally a different matter because it is entering the Goods and Services Act. The GST Act itself says when do you get a GST registration, what is the turnover up to which you need not get the GST registration. Whether the Section 8 company or not Section 8 company, so long as dealing with the goods and services, purchase and sold, etc., in the connection of the business, GST registration will be called for.
Correct.
Does the Section 8 company has to follow 4 board meeting in a year? I think that should discuss very clearly what is the minimum board meeting, what is the exemptions available actually. In the trust is that we already talked about it, I think so. I don't know what is this question, Dipti, I'm not able to get it. Can you elaborate on escort's skill case?
No. We can't at present take case. 1 minute, huh?
Section 8
I think
company
the
cannot be considered.
case study which was given, they want some more details.
Okay.
Yeah, that the case
we'll send it individually.
Yeah.
Or Poonam, you have with you handy, then
that the case you cited, no, where the CSR registration was rejected and subsequently it was upheld by the tribunal. That is what they are asking.
Okay, registration under Income Tax Act.
Yeah, which was actually refused and subsequently it was approved. That is the one.
Okay.
So basically they were implementing agency only, and for being implementing agency, Income Tax initially rejected the 12A license. The same thing?
Yeah, same thing.
And then they said, well, even the implementing agency, it is doing CSR. CSR is also non-profit activity, so we allow. I think you can just in chat box add that reference again, if anything. What we can add, I don't know. Okay, go ahead. There is a continuous question whether a trust can be converted into Section 8 company. Please note that it can be converted, but we require the Charity Commissioner's permission to convert the thing, and that is a practical difficulty. Let me share that. Otherwise, it can be if registered trust, and registered trust require a permission from Charitable Commission. Okay, that is the point. Many people ask, and that is a big hitch. Acha, someone has asked whether a partnership firm can be allowed to be member. Partnership firm, as I told repeatedly, that the same way like Companies Act, it will be covered. Okay, so accordingly, the provision whether a firm can be a member of a company, same provisions. Whether require incorporate, can a director?
We have an estimated of non-profit registered in India. Want to know what is the estimated number of Section 8 companies in India?
Many are there. Poonam, you have checked that number of section.
Number of companies registered under section Companies Act?
Yeah,
No,
in
no.
India.
No, that number I have not checked, ma'am.
Okay.
Can a foreign national hold more than 50% shares in the Section 8 company?
Yeah. Allowed. Only one director, same company at similar we require.
Yeah, it will be governed by like any other provision of the Companies Act only. That is what we said.
Yeah,
Also
the
initially.
some has charity commissioner have a charity company, no.
CSR funds can be received by the Section 8 company. Yeah, definitely. Main difference in the Section 8 company and the trust structure, in order to decide which is the best sector, should use one look for. That you have to decide what you want to go for it, which is the things. Because she talked about it initially, what is the advantages, what are the exemption, what is there. Yeah.
Can a foreign national hold more than we have estimate and we want to know.
Dear host and panelists, anything specific should a CA look into before onboarding the Section 8 company as a client? I think this is a specific question here.
See, basically, like any other company, of course, tax compensation, that 12A registration and all that. Like a CS or chartered account, see their charter and object clause and the condition, license and permissions they have complied with. Because they give all the requirement in the section of Section 8 company. And also the article of charter provide the many things. It should be adhered. And especially there was a question whether which format. As I told you, trust or Section 8 company, I told in starting only that I always recommend Section 8 company. Because that trust is governed by charity commissioner of that each and every change require approval. While in Section 8 company, you can online and then the same can be done. And that's why for structuring or change in the structuring, it is quite a kind of self-control mode. So it is quite easy, and as it is online, and also you can access the registrar office. That's why it is advisable.
Not only that, Dipti, when you talk about the charity commissioner, there are actually, various compliances which is difficult to follow, and it involves a time consuming also. Because, for example, as you rightly say, charity commissioner, every now and then you have to go to the charity commissioner for any change. That is number one. Number two, if you actually receive your particular fund in the charity commission, the trust, I think they'll have to open a designated bank account only at the Delhi at the particular branch, particular bank, and it has to come there. From there only it can be transferred, etc. All those conditions are also there in the charity. So it is little cumbersome if you are doing a charity through the trust rather than the company. Somebody asked whether
you have to comment anything as regards the 12A and other thing. Any particular condition of 12A for Section 8 company? I think fine.
In case of the Section 8 company, listing of the store are required to take ROC permission. SEBI regulations applicable. Yeah, you answered already, I think so. Yeah, once you go for the listing, then automatically LODR regulation will come into place.
Okay, there is no charity commissioner in many states of India. Yeah. But MCA, that's why Section 8 company, rightly Mr. Abraham pointed very well pointed. It is so difficult, that's why. And that's why Section 8 company is advisable. Good point to mention. That better Section 8 company.
Yeah.
Residential flat, Ms. Urvi, I already covered that. Cell Residential Flat Association. So I said that residential, see the purpose to promote the object, non-profit organization or any charity. Cooperative society, there is no this kind of purpose. So you cannot do Section 8 society, residential flat association.
Not only that, residential purposes only for, catering the members who are residing for the housing purposes, etc. The question of any charity donation does not arise actually. It is more of the service oriented to the members rather than the charity. So it cannot be.
Then can a director of Section 8 company as declared by RBI can continue as mentioned, all of Companies Act is applicable except specifically exempt. So it is applicable. Then there is a director of that we call. Can a foreign national can be director and also give voluntary donation to trust having investment more than 50 turnover will apply under MSME and obtain Udyam Aadhar. Yeah, you can. We have to check MSME if they reject. I don't know, have idea of this portion.
No, when you take the application of the MSME, you have to study the MSME provision.
Sorry, it is Harshada. Trust having annual investment in 50 crore and turnover below 250 crore can apply under and obtain Udyam Aadhar. Whether registration under Public Trust Act state is required. A company registered under Section 8 of the Companies Act. Under Public Trust Act of no, only registration under Companies Act. Trust authority doesn't come into picture.
See, let us understand one thing. When you talk about the trust, it is governed under the Trust Act. When you are talking about the society, it is governed under the Societies Act. When you are talking about the Companies Act, governed under the Companies Act, each jurisdiction is actually fixed. If you are a company, trust doesn't come into the picture. If you have a trust, the Companies Act doesn't come into the picture.
Yeah. Then there is a 12A approval is automatic. No, you have to go specifically.
It is like a registration process, no? Application and registration.
Yeah. What is what disclosure are applicable and what is the limit for foreign sovereign company in Section 8 company? Normal companies act like the shareholding year.
You are talking about charity commissioner. Is it relevant for a trust registered under the Bombay Charitable Trust and not for other trusts in West Bengal? Am I correct?
See, state-wise in Bombay and Gujarat state laws and even private trust require registration. So charity commissioner also, or they are governed by that also, even private trust in Maharashtra and Gujarat. We have estimate of non-profit registered. Okay, that we have covered. The other we covered. CSR fund can be received. We covered. In order to decide which base structure. Mr. Vidyut is telling his question is not answered.
Well, I don't see that in the chat box.
Mr. Vidyut can be unmuted. Can be.
Can we hear from you?
IT department.
Yeah.
And now people can raise hand if anyone questions.
There are two.
Yeah, Miss Kanjan. You can, the people, you can raise the hand so that we can cover that. Okay. So you will be allowed to speak.
Kanchan, Nitin,
Yeah.
you can unmute yourself, speak.
Hi,
Yeah.
good afternoon. This is Kanchan Gandhi.
I have this in the ODA case.
One at a time, please. Both are you talking. One at a
Miss
time.
Kanchan, please. Miss Kanchan first.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
I
Miss.
just wanted to check about with regard to this, there is a FCRA amendment that these Section 8 companies who has received foreign funds from the foreign sources, they cannot transfer their funds which has been received from these entities, foreign sources to other NGO. So in case, what is the option available to wind up or to, surrender their licenses? How the industry is working on that? Just an overview on that thought.
See, again, the same thing, since FCRA, that's why I was not attending FCRA, when they give the permission, they write everything condition. If you are not complying, we have to go back again to FCRA and seek specific direction or permission, and since they only give, so that's why accordingly, it is governed by condition, which is stated of condition, we have to go back to FCR to do that and seek a clarification. Then only even here the same will be allowed for conversion. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yes, Nitin.
Yeah.
So,
Supreme Court in the case of ODA has held that the activities of the ODA where they were collecting some money, maybe in some cases more than the cost. So they said it's not a charitable activity under the Income Tax Act. The definition under the Income Tax Act is different and the Section 8 definitions are different. But whether these kind of cases can have impact on the Section 8 company?
it depends on case to case, because see, when you take valet permission from income tax, you disclose all the activity and then only they give. If that permission is given, then there is no question that they later on interpret differently. But if suppose there is no valet permission, then it will have impact. So it case to case basis.
No,
Because
but that is,
profit, Section 8 companies are there. It's not that you are not allowed to do profit.
no, definitions
know,
under
it's a
both
case
the
to
acts are
case-
different.
Sorry?
Definition in the Income Tax Act for
Yeah,
charitable
fully
activity
agree.
and for Section 8, what are the activities covered are both different.
Yeah. So, but for Section 8 company, there is a definition under Companies Act, but for the income tax, you have to follow the same thing. But per se, when you say to LA license, they permit exemption. So that is covered under Income Tax Act as well. But the problem will come when you are not to LA license.
Okay,
Right?
thank you.
Do you agree with me?
See, the question is, when you go to the Income Tax Act, Income Tax also give you certain conditions. If you don't fulfill the condition, because the purpose is only the tax collection allowability. So it is allowed or disallowed in deciding that if you don't fulfill the condition, they will go by that.
And his concern was there, since income tax has mentioned that you have gathered more than cost, so you are doing profit, then how you are charity activity. So I am telling the same thing. We know many company who are doing on a commercial, same is allowed, but again it depends on case to case basis. Situation is. Okay, thanks.
Section 8 company, you
Anyone
filed
else?
after, there is one question is there. Section 8 company, you filed after the due date. We understand that the toll AA is disallowed. So tax will be paid for the revenue generated. However, any other consequences for delayed filing?
Present on the chat box, Harshita, you can put it if required. Any other raising of hand is there?
I don't see any other
If
hands.
any question is not. Any question left, whosoever wants to raise?
Yeah, anybody else would like to ask questions? They can raise their hands.
Rema, you would like to say a few words on the.
Just one suggestion I have in light of a lot of questions that. Can you hear me, Deepti?
Yeah.
In light of a lot of questions and governance issues regarding the foreign funds received by not-for-profits and by which includes Section 8, I think you are very correct when you say that a separate session would be required for it. In fact, even the FAQ by MHA runs into some 30 plus pages. So a separate session on FCRA, who can receive, what are the conditions, what are the governance mechanisms, which are the banks, all those things can be probably discussed because it is very relevant today in the type of the new compliance and governance mechanisms that are governing, and just questions which are very unique to that person cannot be answered in a forum like this. A lot of thought and depth would need to go into it. And also, as somebody pointed out, there are different type of ministries and different acts which will govern the same funds that are received. It could be MHA, it could be somebody, it could be MCA, it could be income tax, it could be so many other things. So I think a lot of thought would need to be given to these things before we answer questions on FCRA.
Yeah.
There are two more hands are raised. One is, I think, Vidyu.
Yeah, I was telling. Nikhil, after long time you are coming.
Yeah, Nikhil,
yeah, in
we
fact,
would
I
like
was
to
out,
hear.
just I entered the house, so I logged in immediately because I wanted
so
to
many
share something.
webinars you were not there. I was remembering and trying to think.
No, today I wanted to share something with the participants that, see, like NPO could have either a trust model or like a Section 8 company. And I would say Section 8 is beneficial because a lot of central government schemes, you will be eligible provided you are registered under Section 8. That's my practical experience. So that is what I wanted to share with the participants. Now, just to give an example, like if you are setting up a hospital, now if you do it under Section 8, and then if you get registered yourself with some central government's authorities, you get that particular license whereby you can import the equipment, medical equipment, etc. required for your hospital without custom duty. You can buy cement if you are constructing your hospital, you are buying steel, you don't have to pay GST. So all these would result into a saving of anything between 20 to 30%. And that's a big
Thanks
chunk.
a lot, Nikhil.
So that's a bit of a practical advice.
Very good point, Nikhil. Very good point. We are glad.
Yeah,
Thanks,
somebody else.
Thanks a lot. I think Vidyu
good afternoon. Good afternoon, Bala, and good afternoon, everyone. Bala, my question is specific that initially you have started to read that one, but it is specific. Does this specific question be answered?
No, please, not here. We are covering general questions.
The general questions only can be answered. Specific case-to-case question we generally do not answer here. Because there are a lot of things which are there in the specific questions. Without knowing the full details, answering the question will not be proper.
All right, Bala. Thank you very much.
The question is, dear hosts and panelists, shall a CA based in Mumbai face any issues in doing compliance of Section 8 company registered in another state like Himachal Pradesh? So far, online not issue, but it can be. It's your choice. If required, you may visit. You can take up that way assignment. I think that's.
Can you give the brief on the closure of the Section 8 company?
Closure means same, no. How much time? Closure, either you merge it with other similar company and then close. You either covered entire process and surrender the license, then you convert into private and then you close. Either of it is that way. We covered that. Change you cannot per se as a Section 8 company close. in the same mode.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, FCRA, yeah, Kanchan, we will consider it. FCRA, but at present we will take Companies Act. Let's see that we will carry out on a FEMA based also. Similar sessions. Okay. Thanks.
That is
I
all I
think we
think.
will
All the
consider
questions
FEMA
are there.
series only, so that will be covered. Okay. I think we covered everything. And still anyone can raise the hands. Otherwise, we'll close that. Okay. Rima, any point or we can close?
We can close. Thank
Okay,
you.
Rima, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your time. Thank you very much.
Udipti.
Thanks. Thanks all the participants for your active participation. Thanks everybody. See you next week. Same
Thanks a
time.
lot to everyone. Special thanks to Poonam to covering all the aspects and putting it very lucidly. It was an excellent job done by her.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks to Rima Mohan. Thanks a lot. See you next week.
Thank you.
I wish all of you a happy Baisakhi today. Please have a celebration.
Yeah. Bye.
Followed by New Year tomorrow and followed by New Year, Bengal New Year day after tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.